lads, we have two journalists here with us, one from Clare and one from Longford. A slight gap in years, as it were.
Experience,
I suppose.
Well, I have to agree with you because I'm 2 years younger than him.
Yes,
as you can see, it's quite obvious.
And Marty, over the years, the changes, very quickly if you can.
The changes, I suppose, have been dramatic in so many ways. I suppose from a GAA point of view, it is the fact that the All-Irelands are now in July. They're no longer in September. I believe they should be in September. I think it's a tactical error, which I think will take another little while before it goes back. Some people tell me it'll never go back, and we'll be lucky to get it back to August. I think the crown jewels are the first and third Sunday in September. I mean, I'm old-fashioned, and I'll admit it, but I think there has to be a way of accommodating, because I'm also a club man and I understand the difficulties, but there has to be a way of doing this, because the shop window and the marketing of our games has to be over a longer period of time. It's too early for it to end in July, and it's too condensed. So that's the biggest change. And I suppose the fact that technology has improved so dramatically, with club finals and club games being streamed, the arrival of GAA Go, where you can watch whatever the Clare Cork, if I may say, my own crowd last Sunday, or you can keep an eye on Galway Kilkenny on the TV. But in some ways that condenses very hard. It's too condensed, as I say. So nothing gets fully appreciated, and it's so rushed that when you've one game over, you're thinking on Monday morning, what's on next Sunday? You know, do you feel the same?
No, I do. Obviously we were joking about the difference in experience, Marty, but that's what I grew up with as well. And so much of sport is about tradition, and we kind of organise our lives around what sporting event is when. So we know what happens in April because the Masters is on in golf. Correct. And we know what happens in August and September because we structure our lives around the All-Ireland semi-finals and of course the All-Ireland finals. And there's just a great history and tradition to the first Sunday in September and the third Sunday in September. I respect the GAA's decision to move it because they're moving it for the sake of the club player. And I think it's a very unique thing for a sports organisation to take care of their 99% of their club members over commercial reasons, because they could make more money, to be honest, if they went to September. So I think it's a good thing, but I know Gareth Burns has talked about we might be able to move back to August or even September. I think they should. I think there's been a bit of an overcorrection.
I totally agree with you, Gavin. I think it's a noble thing what they've tried to do, but they've to use that cliche, they've thrown the baby bathwater out. And we need, speaking as a GA man, we need that shop window for longer, because it's very important. Like this year, for instance, as you know, we'll have the All-Ireland final last Sunday in July. The Olympics in France will already have started. European Championships. The GAA doesn't have it's in a very competitive environment. So you also have to be commercially sensitive and have that shop window for a lot longer, and that's why I think it should be September. And look, my argument is very simple. The All-Ireland finals involve 4 different counties probably. The likelihood is Cork or Galway, they're likely to be the double counties. It's unlikely that they'll be there. So you're talking about 4 different counties. Let's say it could be Limerick, Kilkenny and Kerry and Dublin. Everybody else can be doing the games while that's going on. So I think it needs to be reviewed.
And lads, just on the journalistic end of things, Marty and Gavin. Gavin, when you were young, I presume you were looking at Marty Morrisey on the telly.
I did,
gaining whatever tips you could get.
Well, I was 4 and he was 2, so it was kind of difficult. I'm sticking with this no matter what happens, Gavin.
As a maths teacher, former maths teacher, Marty, I'm highly suspect about your
mathematics skills.
But Gavin, your first introduction to Marty.
To Marty, I can tell you, and Marty won't remember this, but when I was in primary school in Fermoyle National School outside Lanesborough, our primary school teacher was Dennis Connerton, who was the Longford manager at the time, and Marty and camera crew rocked up to our primary school for a VT ahead of a game against, I think it might have been Westmeath in the Leinster Championship.
Could have been.
It would have been the first round of the Leinster Championship anyway, and we're obviously live on RTE and getting the full Marty Morrisey treatment. So I think that's the first time I ever met you. I don't think either of us would have expected to be standing here beside each other right now. And look, I
knew he was good though. I recognised him of all the pupils there. I said, keep an eye on that fella.
But obviously, look, I was never going to. I did this job because it's a way of not growing up. I can keep on watching the sport I watched as a kid. I don't really work a day in my life at all, and it's the only way I was ever going to get to All-Ireland finals and World Cup finals or any kind of major event, because there'll be plenty of people in that room who may remember my attempts to play football for a Klein back in the day. I tapped out nobly at under 21 level. I was never going to make a varsity athlete, as they say in The Sopranos. So this is my way of staying involved, and what a dream job it is, really.
Marty, as a man with the experience, what would you say to Gavin? I know you're a few years at it, but as a young journalist coming up, would you have any words of wisdom? You're always dispersing wisdom.
And brutally honest criticism now. We want honesty here.
Okay, this is going to be rough now. It's going to be really tough. I think very highly of Gavin Cooney, to be honest with you. On a bank holiday Monday, I have a radio show for 2 hours, and Gavin will be a guest as we are filming this at Punchestown on the bank holiday in May.
Yeah.
And he's been on several times. And his reputation is growing, and his gravitas is growing.
My ego is growing as well.
It's not.
At the same rate.
Not at all. It's not. Like, the reality is, we've got a journalist here in Longford who will make a national impact. And I suppose the biggest thing is, and Gavin has said it, we both love what we do, and I think we both feel that we're lucky to be doing what we're doing. Because, like you, although I played Clare Minor under 21, I kind of found partying and girls and all sorts of things to distract me. And then I found something that I love talking about, which is football, hurling, and Camogie ladies football, all the sport. And I've been to 3 Olympics, and to be there and to witness this. And Katie Taylor, one of the highlights for me is commentating on radio when Katie Taylor won her gold medal in London. So for Gavin, I think you've years and years ahead of you. You will be brilliant. You are brilliant as it is, and enjoy every moment. You see, the beauty of what Gavin is doing and what I did is we love what we're doing. And how lucky are we, A, to be doing something that we love, and to have a passion for what we want and what we cover. So it's a great honour.
Last question, lads. It has gone much more competitive. I'm sure when you started, Marty, you were one of the few journalists, reporting on national airwaves. Now there's a plethora of social media and all this sort of stuff. So it has obviously become more difficult. Gavin?
More difficult in some ways, I guess, but it's also never been easier to do the work and get your name out there. You can just start off by yourself, like online, start your own blog, or do work on social media or whatever. Like it's much easier to get published now. Obviously it's competitive, but I often ask, when I started out, I'd ask a lot of journalists and people for advice, and a lot of people would say, don't do it, there's no jobs in it, the industry is unpredictable and precarious. I always hated that advice. Like, if it's what you want to do, you should absolutely go and do it. And if you have a passion for it, you'll find a way of making it work. And there's always amazing advice I remember, and you've lived by this, that from Terry Wogan, that if you work hard and be kind to people around you, great things will happen. And I've always kind of kept that advice. Have I always lived by it? I'm not so sure.
You have.
But no, it's always good advice.
And let me dwell on that for 1 second, because the power of the pen or the laptop or the microphone can be quite powerful. And what you say and what you write and what you do can at times be hurtful. So Gavin's mantra is spot on, and has always been mine. Be considerate and be kind and be fair. What I would like to do is invite the people of Longford to a Marty party in Spain the first week of October. We have Sharon Shannon, Tommy Fleming, we have Mary Coughlin, we have the Galway Tenors, we have Lisa Lamb, we have Bernard O'Shea, we have Mighty Crack, we have Sunshine.
You'd have me stowed on the boat now.
There we go. So. Gavin is coming as well. www.calestratravel.com. Book now and book as many times. Come on, Longford.
Very good, lads. Thank you, Marty.